Alex had been traveling through space for what felt like a lifetime. His mission was clear: serve as part of a peacekeeping force between different alien species. Wasn't easy, but it was his job. He'd seen dozens of planets, some peaceful, some dangerous, and everything in between. But nothing had prepared him for the day he would meet Tara. Tara wasn't like anyone Alex had ever seen. She was a member of the Goroth, a species known for their towering height and incredible strength. The Goroth were built like warriors, their muscles massive and their power unmatched. But there was something different about Tara. Even among her people, she stood out. Her skin was a deep shade of green, and her eyes glowed with a soft golden hue, giving her an almost otherworldly beauty. Yet, despite her size and strength, Alex could see a sadness in her eyes that intrigued him. It had been a quiet day when Alex first encountered her. He was exploring the alien city on the planet Zarathus, an area known for its lush landscapes and peaceful atmosphere. Had been walking through the marketplace, scanning the goods for trade, when he felt a strange presence behind him. He turned around, and there she was. Tara stood tall, her imposing figure casting a shadow over him, though she wasn't standing threateningly. Her eyes were locked on him, but there was something about her gaze that seemed distant, almost lost. Alex was used to interacting with different species, but the Goroth were unlike anything he'd ever encountered. They were reserved, proud, and above all, incredibly strong. Most Goroth females, like Tara, carried the weight of being larger and more physically imposing than the males of their species. It was a source of pride for many, but it came with its own challenges. Staring, Tara's voice broke through Alex's thoughts. It was deep and commanding, but there was a soft vulnerability beneath it. Alex, taken by surprise, quickly gathered his thoughts. "Sorry," he said with a slight smile. "I didn't mean to stare. It's just that... Well, I've never met anyone quite like you before." Tara didn't smile back, but her expression softened slightly. "I suppose you haven't? Few people have." Alex, sensing that she wasn't one to engage easily, tried to change the subject. "I'm Alex," he said, extending his hand, his human nature kicking in to make the introduction easier. "I'm with the peacekeeping force here." Tara looked at his hand but didn't take it. She seemed to consider him for a moment before speaking again. "Tara," she said simply, "I'm not interested in peace or politics, human." Alex blinked in surprise but didn't press her further. There was something about her that made him feel like she was holding something back. He could tell that Tara had been through things that most people would never understand. Her eyes, so full of strength, also held a deep sadness that made him curious. "I didn't mean to intrude," Alex said. "I was just... passing through." Tara nodded, still watching him closely. "You are a long way from home. What do you seek here?" Alex hesitated. He had come to this planet for a peacekeeping mission, but something told him Tara wasn't someone you could easily explain things to. "I'm just trying to do my job," he said quietly, unsure of how to explain his role without sounding too formal. For a long moment, Tara didn't say anything. Instead, she simply watched him, as if reading something deeper in his eyes. Alexa felt exposed under her gaze, like she could see through him. Finally, she spoke. "Do you know what it feels like to be... too much?" Her words were soft but full of weight. Alex frowned. "Too much?" Tara's gaze shifted toward the sky, as if searching for something in the vast emptiness above. "I am too big," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Too strong, too large. They say I'm too much. They say I am not made to bear children, not fit to be a proper Goroth female." She paused and looked back at him. "They say I'm too much to breed human." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard stories of how different species had their own struggles with reproduction, but hearing it from Tara herself made it feel more real. It was pain in her words, a pain that went beyond physical appearance. It was clear to him that Tara was not just dealing with her size. She was fighting against expectations that were placed on her, expectations that no one should ever have to carry. Alex wasn't sure what to say. The situation was delicate. He could see Tara's emotional walls were high, and for good reason, I think. Happiness doesn't depend on something like that. Tara looked at him, surprised by his words. What do you mean? Alex stepped closer, his voice steady. Happiness isn't about meeting someone else's standards, Tara. It's about being true to yourself. You don't need to fit into a box that others created for you. You're strong, you're capable, you're more than just what others think you are. Tara's expression softened, but she didn't respond immediately. For a moment, it was as if she was trying to process what Alex had said. Then, slowly, she nodded. Maybe, she murmured. Alex didn't push her for an answer. Instead, he simply smiled and said, "Maybe we can talk more tomorrow." Tara regarded him for a long moment, then nodded again. Perhaps. As Alex turned to leave, he couldn't help but feel that this strange encounter was just the beginning of something much bigger. Tara wasn't just another alien he met on his mission. There was something in hers, something hidden deep beneath her strength, that Alex felt compelled to understand. And so, their journey began. The next day, Alex returned to the marketplace on Zarathus. The planet was a peaceful one, known for its green landscapes and large sweeping valleys. But today it felt different. He couldn't stop thinking about Tara, about the sadness in her eyes, and the weight of the words she had shared with him. It wasn't just her size that troubled her, it was the way her people saw her. He needed to understand more, to help her see that there was more to life than meeting other people's expectations. He was walking through the crowded marketplace when he saw Tara again. This time she wasn't alone. She was standing near a group of Gorath, all of them taller than Alex, and all of them with the same heavy build. But there was a difference. Tara stood apart, not talking or joining in the conversation. She was looking at the ground, her arms crossed, as if protecting herself from something. Alex hesitated, but then walked over to her. "Hey," he said, softly, not wanting to surprise her. "I was thinking about our talk yesterday." Tara lifted her gaze and nodded, though she didn't say anything at first. Alex could see how uncomfortable she was in the group of her own people. It was clear that Tara wasn't just strong physically, but emotionally as well. She was standing, tall among others, yet she seemed so isolated. "I hope I didn't make you feel awkward yesterday," Alex said, trying to bridge the gap. Tara finally spoke, her voice quiet but firm. "You didn't. It's just ... hard, human. You don't understand the way we live. It's the way my people see things." "I don't pretend to," Alex admitted, "but I want to understand. I can see that you're carrying a heavy burden." Tara was silent for a long moment, but then she nodded. "I am different from the others. The Gorath are a proud species, and we place a lot of value on strength. The males of my kind are strong too, but our role is different. The females, like me, are expected to bear children, to continue our race. If we cannot, we are seen as less, or not valued the way we should be." Alex frowned, his heart heavy with understanding. "But you're still strong. You've got so much to offer. Why should anyone say you're less just because of something you can't control?" Tara looked away, her expression unreadable. "Because strength is not just in fighting, it's in what we create, in what we leave behind. And my people believe that only through reproduction can we truly fulfill our purpose." Alex could see the pain in her eyes, but he also saw a spark of something deeper. She wasn't just fighting the expectations of her people. She was fighting for her own place in the world. A place where she could be more than just her size. "Well, I don't think your purpose should be defined by someone else's idea of what you should do," Alex said, his voice sincere. "Your strength doesn't just come from how much you can carry or how many you can protect. It's in your heart. You've got a kind of power inside you that no one else can take away." Tara raised an eyebrow at him, not sure if she believed him, but something about his words made her pause. She had heard similar words from others before, but never in a way that felt real. She had always been told that she should be more, that her value depended on her ability to bear children. "Maybe you're right," she said slowly, her voice softer. "Maybe there's more to it than just what I've been taught. But it's hard to change what we've believed for so long." Gorath are proud of their traditions. I can't just ignore them. Alex understood. Changing the way people thought about their traditions wasn't easy. But he believed in Tara, and he believed in the idea that everyone had the right to be more than what others expected them to be. "I don't think you need to ignore your traditions," Alex said carefully. "But maybe you could show them that. There's another way to be strong. You don't need to follow a single path to prove your worth." Tara stared at him for a long time, considering his words. She didn't know if she could change everything that had been taught to her from birth. But for the first time, she began to wonder if maybe there was more to her life than just what her people expected. "I'll try," Tara said quietly, "but I don't know if I can do it alone." Alex smiled, the warmth in his eyes showing that he meant every word. "You don't have to do it alone. You've got me. I believe in you." Tara's eyes softened, and for the first time Alex saw a small smile break through her usual stoic expression. It wasn't much, but it was a start. She wasn't sure if she could change everything about her people's beliefs. But at least now she had someone who would stand by her side. Someone who didn't think her worth was tied to the ability to bear children. "I guess we'll see," Tara said, looking up at him. Alex nodded, feeling the weight of the moment settle between them. There was still a long road ahead, but for the first time, Tara was looking forward to it. She wasn't alone anymore. She had someone who believed in her, someone who saw her as more than just what others expected her to be. And maybe, just maybe, that belief would be enough to help her find the strength she had been searching for all along. The days that followed were a mixture of quiet conversations and moments of reflection. Alex and Tara spent more time together, getting to know one another better. It wasn't just about the peacekeeping mission anymore. It was about Tara's struggle to find her place in her own world, and Alex's desire to help her understand that her value wasn't tied to the expectations others had placed on her. One afternoon, they walked through the lush fields near the city. The sun was low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the land. Tara was unusually quiet, and Alex noticed she seemed more withdrawn than usual. "Tara, what's on your mind?" Alex asked as they walked side by side. He had grown accustomed to her strength, but he could see the weight on her shoulders, a weight that seemed too heavy to bear alone. Tara looked ahead, her eyes distant. "I've been thinking about what you said," she replied softly, "about strength, about how I don't have to follow the expectations of my people." Alex nodded, waiting for her to continue. He knew this wasn't an easy thing for her to accept. The beliefs of her people had been ingrained in her since she was a child. Changing those beliefs, even for her, was going to be a long and difficult journey. "I think I understand what you mean," Tara said after a long pause. "But ... it's not that simple. My people have been this way for generations. The Gorath believe that we are here to grow the population. We are strong to protect, to continue the line. If we can't do that, we are seen as ... useless." Lex felt a pang of sadness for her. The idea that anyone, let alone someone as strong and capable as Tara, would feel useless because of something they couldn't control was heartbreaking. He wanted to say something that would ease her pain, but he knew this wasn't a simple fix. Tara's beliefs ran deep and they weren't easy to change. "Tara," he said gently, "you're not useless. You have strength that goes beyond anything I've seen. Your strength isn't just in your body. It's in your heart, in your mind. You're capable of so much more than what your people expect of you." Tara stopped walking, turning to face him. Her eyes were filled with uncertainty. "I want to believe you, Alex, but when I look at my people, when I see how they look at me, I don't know if I can. They see me as a failure. They see me as incomplete. Spent so many years feeling like I don't belong, like I'm not enough." Alex reached out, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You're more than enough. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Not to me, not to your people. You just need to be true to yourself." Tara looked at his hand on her shoulder, then met his gaze. There was a moment of silence between them, a moment filled with unspoken understanding. Tara had spent so much of her life trying to meet others' expectations. The weight of those expectations had shaped who she was, and it wasn't easy to let go of something that had been with her for so long. "I don't know if I can do it alone," Tara said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've always had to prove myself to everyone around me. And now I'm starting to wonder if maybe I've been wrong all along. Maybe I've been living my life for others, not for myself." Alex smiled, a warm, reassuring smile. "You don't have to do it alone," You've got me, and I'll help you find your way. You don't need to change for anyone else. You just need to change for yourself. If you can do that, I believe you'll be unstoppable." Tara's eyes softened, a small glimmer of hope starting to form. It wasn't much, but it was enough. She hadn't realized how much she had been holding on to the idea of being what others wanted her to be. Alex's words had opened a door inside her, a door she hadn't known was there. For the first time, she started to feel like she didn't have to carry the weight of others' expectations anymore. She could choose her own path. I think I'm starting to believe you," Tara said, her voice more confident now. "I don't have to be what others think I should be. Maybe I can find a different way to be strong." Alex nodded. "Exactly. Your strength doesn't come from how much you can carry or what you can produce. It comes from your choices, from the way you live your life. That's where true power comes from." Tara looked out over the fields, the wind gently blowing through her hair. For the first time in a long time, she felt a sense of peace. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew one thing: she wasn't going to let others decide her worth anymore. She was going to live for herself, and for the first time in her life, that felt like enough. "Thank you, Alex," she said quietly, turning to face him. "You've given me something I didn't know I needed." At her, "You don't need to thank me. You just needed someone to remind you of what you're worth. You've always known it deep down. It was just buried under everything else." Tara nodded, her eyes full of determination. She didn't know what the future would hold, but for the first time in a long time, she was ready to face it. She was ready to be true to herself, to live on her own terms. And with Alex by her side, she knew that she wasn't alone in her journey. Over the next few weeks, Tara began to change. It wasn't an instant transformation, but she was starting to realize that she didn't have to carry the weight of others' expectations anymore. She no longer felt as though she had to prove herself to anyone. Alex had been a constant source of support, encouraging her to take small steps toward understanding who she really was. He believed in her, and that belief was slowly becoming a spark inside, her spark that had been hidden for so long. They spent more time together, not just talking about the difficulties Tara faced, but also about the things she enjoyed. They explored new areas of Zarathus, and for the first time in a long while, Tara found herself laughing. She laughed at Alex's stories about Earth, about his adventures, and about the strange food he had tried on other planets. She laughed at herself too, at the little things she had once thought too small to be worth noticing. One afternoon, as they walked through a quiet part of the planet, Tara noticed something she hadn't before: the beauty of the land around her. The hills rolled gently, and the air smelled fresh, like the earth was alive with possibility. It reminded her of how she had felt as a young Gorith, full of dreams and hopes before the expectations of her people began to weigh her down. "I never really saw it before," Tara said softly, taking in the view. "I was always too focused on ... well, everything else." Alex smiled at her. "Sometimes it's hard to see the beauty around you when you're too busy trying to meet expectations. But now you're seeing things in a new light." Tara nodded, grateful for the simple moments they were sharing. It was easy to forget how much peace could be found in the quiet. "I guess I've been so caught up in what others think that I forgot how to just ... be." Alex walked alongside her, content in the peaceful silence between them. There was no pressure, no need to speak constantly. The space between them was comfortable, like they had known each other for years instead of just a few weeks. Tara had come to realize that it wasn't the size of her body or the expectations placed on her that mattered. It was how she chose to live her life. Over time, Tara started to make small changes. She began to train with Alex not just for strength, but for joy. They would spar for fun, and Alex taught her to take pleasure in the challenge rather than seeing it as a measure of worth. With each practice session, Tara felt more at ease with her body. It's no longer seeing it as something that needed to be controlled or judged by others. One afternoon, as they trained in the courtyard, Tara threw a mock punch at Alex. He blocked it easily, but instead of the usual feeling of frustration she once had when she couldn't land a blow, she laughed. It was a genuine laugh, filled with the thrill of simply moving, of challenging herself. without worrying about what anyone else thought. "You're getting better," Alex said, grinning. "I think I might need to work harder to keep up with you." Tara smirked, feeling a sense of pride in herself. "Maybe you should, human." But beneath her playful teasing, there was something deeper. She had begun to feel proud of herself for the first time in ages. She was no longer defined by her size or the idea that her worth depended on reproduction. Tara was learning that her strength wasn't just about physical power. It was about her ability to grow, to adapt, and to find happiness on her own terms. One evening, as they sat by the river, Tara shared more of her past with Alex. "When I was younger, I thought I had to follow the rules. I thought that if I could just be what everyone expected, I would find my place, but all I found was emptiness. I felt like I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders." Lex listened quietly, not interrupting, just letting her speak. He could see the change in her, the way she was slowly letting go of the burden she had carried for so long. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't fast. But she was beginning to find peace with herself. "I don't feel that weight anymore," Tara continued, her voice stronger now. "It's not easy, and there are days when I feel like I'm still trying to find my way, but I'm not doing it alone anymore. I have people who believe in me like you." Alex smiled, his heart full. "I believe in you, Tara. I always have." The quiet river flowed beside them, its gentle current a reminder of how time moved forward, slowly but steadily. Where Tara wasn't the same Gorith she had been when they first met. She was someone new, someone who was learning to live for herself, not for anyone else's approval. The Goroth people may have had their expectations, but Tara was starting to realize that she didn't have to fit into their mold to be valuable. As they sat together, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Tara felt something inside her, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. For the first time, she believed that she could be more than what others expected her to be. She could be her true self, and that was enough. "Thank you, Alex," Tara said, her voice full of sincerity. "For helping me see the world differently, for helping me see myself differently." Alex nodded, his smile warm. "You don't need to thank me. You've always had this strength inside you. I just helped you find it." For Tara, that was enough. The days had grown warmer, and with it, Tara felt a new kind of strength growing within her. Her training with Alex had become a regular part of her routine. The physical exercise was no longer about testing her limits or meeting others' expectations. It had become a source of peace, a way for her to focus on herself and her own growth. Alex had seen this change in her, and he was proud of how far she had come. She wasn't just getting stronger physically, she was becoming more confident, more comfortable in her own skin. Her laughter, which had once been rare, now came easily and often. Alex enjoyed those moments more than anything. He spent less time talking about the past and more time simply being present in the moment, enjoying each other's company. One evening, as they walked through the city, Alex noticed a group of Gorith warriors gathered in the town square. Tara tensed when she saw them. She had been avoiding certain parts of the city, certain places where the pressure to be the ideal Gorith female was the greatest. It was hard to ignore the judgmental glances she often received from her people. The Gorith were a proud species, and they valued strength and the ability to reproduce above all else. Tara's gaze shifted to Alex. A flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. "They're watching me," she said quietly. Alex turned to look at her, his expression soft. "Let them watch." "You're not doing anything wrong," Tara shook her head. "You don't understand. The Goroth have always believed that our value lies in our ability to bear children. If we can't, we're seen as ... incomplete. I'm supposed to be like them, strong, capable of creating new life. But I'm not." Alex stepped closer to her, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're not incomplete, Tara. You're more than just what others expect you to be. You're capable of so much more than they know." Tara hesitated, her eyes lingering on the group of Gorith. She could feel the weight of their stares, the silent judgment that always seemed to follow her. She had been taught to believe that her worth was tied to her ability to fit into their mold. But now, with Alex's words echoing in her mind, She wondered if it was time to stop caring about their expectations, you know? Nice. Alex said with a gentle smile. I think it's time to show them who you really are. Tara turned to face him, surprised. What do you mean? Alex's smile widened. I mean, it's time for you to stop hiding, to show them that your value doesn't depend on what they think you should be. You're strong, not because you're following their rules, but because you've chosen to live for yourself. For a long moment, Tara stood there, looking at him. She felt something stir inside her, a sense of determination, a sense of purpose. She had spent so long trying to be what others wanted her to be, trying to meet their impossible expectations. But now, for the first time, she felt like she didn't need their approval. She could create her own path. One that didn't depend on meeting anyone's standards but her own. I think you're right, Tara said, her voice steady. It's time to stop hiding. It's time to show them who I really am. Alex grinned. That's the spirit. With newfound resolve, Tara stepped forward, walking toward the group of Goroth. Alex followed her, his presence a steady reminder that she wasn't alone. As they neared the group, Tara could feel the weight of their gazes on her. Some of the warriors whispered among themselves, their eyes scanning her up and down. It was clear that they were expecting her to fall back into the old ways, to retreat and hide behind the walls she had built for so long. But Tara didn't flinch. She held her head high, her shoulders back, and her posture strong. She wasn't the same Goroth female they remembered. She had changed, and she wasn't afraid to show it. One of the warriors, a tall male with a deep voice, spoke first. Tara, you've been avoiding us. Are you ashamed? Tara met his gaze, unblinking. No, I've just been busy learning what really matters. The group fell silent, unsure of how to respond. Tara could see the confusion in their eyes. They were used to seeing her as one of them, bound by the same expectations and traditions. But now she was different. She wasn't afraid to challenge their beliefs, to stand up for herself. Alex stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. Tara is not ashamed. She is stronger than she has ever been, and she is not defined by the same rules that hold the rest of you back. The warrior looked at Alex, his brow furrowing in confusion. You're a human. What do you know of our ways? Alex met his gaze steadily. Atala. I know that every individual, regardless of their species, has the right to define their own worth. Tara's strength comes from within, not from following someone else's expectations. For a moment, the group was silent. The warriors exchanged glances, but none of them spoke. Tara could feel the tension in the air. It was clear that her decision to stand up for herself had shaken them. They weren't used to seeing a Goroth challenge the norms of their society. But Tara wasn't going to back down. She had already made her choice. Finally, one of the warriors, a female, spoke. Up. Maybe it's time we start thinking differently, too. Tara turned to face her, surprised. What do you mean? The female warrior nodded. Maybe it's time we stop defining our worth by what we can or cannot do. Maybe it's time we value each other for who we are, not just for what we can produce. A wave of relief washed over Tara as she realized that maybe, just maybe, things could change. The Goroth people were known for their pride and traditions, but perhaps they were ready to listen. Tara wasn't alone in this battle. And with Alex by her side, she knew she could face whatever came next. The following weeks were filled with change, not just for Tara, but for the entire Goroth community. Tara had begun to step into a new role, one she had never imagined for herself. Her confidence grew with each passing day, and her strength, both physical and emotional, became evident to everyone around her. But it wasn't just her actions that were changing. It was the way others began to see her. Tara knew that her decision to stand up for herself, to stop hiding, had caught the attention of her people. The Goroth had long been a race defined by their rigid expectations. To challenge those expectations was unheard of, especially for a female. But Tara had done it, and now others were starting to take notice. One afternoon, Tara met with a small group of Goroth females in the village square. They were part of a council that governed the daily life of the community, and although they had always respected Tara, Her new behavior had left them curious. "Tara," said one of the council members, a female named Kara, who was both respected and feared by many, "we've been watching you, the way you've carried yourself recently. It's unlike anything we've seen before. But you've changed." Tara nodded, but she was careful not to appear too proud. "I'm not sure it's a change. I'm just starting to live the way I believe is right for me. Not trying to meet anyone's expectations anymore. I'm just being myself." Kara looked at her thoughtfully. "You've done something none of us dared to do. You've questioned our traditions. I know you've been called too big to bear children, but I don't think that should define you. We've all been told for so long that our worth is based on our ability to reproduce, to carry the next generation." Tara felt a weight lift off her shoulders as she listened to Kara's words. She had spent so long fearing that she would always be judged by the one thing she couldn't control. But now, others were starting to question that belief as well. She wasn't alone anymore. "I've been thinking about that too," Tara said, her voice steady. "Maybe we need to start defining ourselves by what we can give to the community, not just by what we can produce. Strength isn't just about having children. It's about what we contribute to the world around us, how we help each other grow." The council members exchanged looks, some nodding, some still uncertain. Kara was the first to speak again. "I agree, Tara. And perhaps we've been wrong to place so much importance on one thing. Maybe it's time for us to rethink what makes a Gorath truly valuable." Tara's heart swelled with a sense of accomplishment. She had never expected to have this kind of influence. But as the conversation continued, she realized just how far her words were reaching. The Gorath were not a race easily swayed by outside ideas, but Tara was starting to break down those walls, one conversation at a time. Later that evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Tara met Alex near the edge of the village. He had been working with the younger Gorath, teaching them new ways to train and fight, but today he had taken a break to join Tara. When he saw her, he couldn't help but smile. "How's it going?" he asked, his tone light and encouraging. Tara smiled back, but there was a new sense of peace in her eyes. "It's going well. The council is starting to listen to me. They're starting to see that maybe we don't have to live according to the same old rules. Maybe there's a new way to define strength." Alex raised an eyebrow, impressed. "Amazing, Tara. I knew you had it in you." Tara laughed softly, her voice full of gratitude. "I never thought I'd be the one to change things, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for all of us to stop defining ourselves by the things we can't control." Alex's smile grew wider. "You're already changing things, one step at a time. And the best part is, you're doing it for yourself." Tara took a deep breath, feeling a sense of calm settle over her. "For the first time, I'm not living for anyone else. I'm living for me. And it feels ... right." The two of them stood in silence for a moment, watching the stars appear in the sky. It was a peaceful moment, but Tara knew it was just the beginning. She had come so far from the self-doubt that had once plagued her. Now she had a new purpose, a purpose that was not defined by the expectations of others, but by her own sense of worth. As the days passed, Tara continued to meet with the council and other leaders in the Gorath community. Her influence grew, and she began to teach others what she had learned. She shared her story with the younger Gorath females, encouraging them to find their own paths, to define their worth based on their strengths. It's not their ability to meet society's standards. Gorath, people were beginning to change, slowly but surely. Tara had opened their eyes to the idea that strength came in many forms, not just through reproduction. She had shown them that their value wasn't tied to one single role. It was tied to their ability to contribute to the world around them. To make a difference in their community, Alex remained by her side, supporting her every step of the way. He didn't need to say much, his presence was enough. Together, they had sparked a change in the Gorath society that would be felt for generations to come. As the two of them walked away from the village that evening, Tara looked at Alex, her heart full of gratitude. She had found her place in the expectations of others, but in the life she was building for herself, and that she realized was enough. Tara had never imagined how much her life would change in such a short time. Months had passed since she made the decision to stop living for the expectations of others. She had stepped into a new role, not just as a leader, but as a symbol of hope for many. The Goroth people were beginning to understand that strength was not just about physical power or reproduction. It was about resilience, about choosing to live true to oneself, and about making a difference in the world. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Tara stood atop a hill overlooking the village. The wind rustled the trees, and the sky was painted in shades of orange and pink. It was a moment of peace, a moment she had come to treasure. She could feel the changes in the air. In the way the community was beginning to think about their values, Alex stood beside her, his eyes scanning the landscape. "It's amazing, isn't it?" he said, his voice filled with wonder. "At how far you've come. How far the Goroth have come." Tara nodded, her eyes softening as she watched the village below. "I never thought this would be possible," she said quietly. "There were so many times I doubted myself. Times when I thought I was too broken to change anything. But now, I see a future I never thought I'd have." Alex smiled and placed a hand on her shoulder. "You didn't do it alone. You believed in yourself, and you've inspired others to do the same. You've shown them that there's more to life than what they've always been told." Tara turned to face him, her expression thoughtful. "I couldn't have done it without you, Alex. You were there when I needed someone to believe in me. You reminded me that my worth doesn't depend on anyone else's approval." Alex chuckled softly. He always had that strength within. "You, Tara, I just helped you see it." For a moment, they stood in silence, taking in the beauty of the world around them. Tara had learned so much about herself, and now she saw her people starting to embrace those lessons as well. The council had begun to change their views, and more Goroth were joining Tara in her quest to redefine what it meant to be strong. It wasn't just about fighting or reproduction. It was about creating a life worth living, a life filled with purpose and personal fulfillment. As Tara's influence grew, she started to organize gatherings where the Goroth could come together and share their thoughts on what truly mattered. It wasn't always easy, and not everyone agreed, but the conversations were happening. For the first time in generations, the Goroth were beginning to question the old ways and imagine a new future. Tara was especially proud of the younger Goroth, the ones who had never been forced to live by the same rules that had burdened the older generation. They had grown up in a time when change was already starting to take root. They didn't see strength as something to be proven through reproduction or fighting. They saw it in their creativity, in their ability to help others, and in their drive to live authentically. One of the younger females, a teenager named Sira, approached Tara one day after a council meeting. "Tara," she said shyly, "I've been thinking a lot about what you said, about how we should define our own strength. I want to help. I want to be part of the change." Tara smiled warmly at her. "I'm glad to hear that, Sira. You're already part of the change. You're thinking for yourself, and that's the first step." Sira's eyes brightened. "I want to teach the younger generations what you've taught me, that we don't have to be like everyone else to be strong, that we can choose our path, even if it's different." Tara felt a deep sense of pride as she listened to Sira's words. She realized that the future of the Goroth didn't just lie in her hands. It was in the hands of the younger generation, the ones who would carry these lessons forward. And she knew that they would build a future where everyone's strength was valued, no matter what form it took. That evening, Tara and Alex sat together by the fire, watching the stars slowly appear in the night sky. It was a quiet moment, peaceful one, but there was so much more ahead of them. "Tara," Alex said after a long pause, "what do you see for the future?" Tara thought for a moment before answering. "I see a future where no one has to prove their worth to anyone, where each Goroth, no matter their size or ability, is valued for who they are. A future where strength is not something we have to fight for. It's something we each carry inside us, in our own way." Alex nodded, his gaze turning toward the horizon. "That's a beautiful future, and it's already starting to happen." Tara smiled softly. "Yes, it is. But it's not just my vision anymore. It's the vision of the Goroth. We've started something, but the real change will come from within us all." They sat in silence for a while longer, the crackling of the fire, the only sound in the still night air. Tara knew the journey wasn't over. There would always be challenges, always moments of doubt. But for the first time, she felt ready to face them. She had found her place, and she had found the strength to live on her own terms. The Gorth would change, and Terra would be there, leading them toward a future where everyone was free to define their own strength, their own worth, and their own happiness.